Hi, my name is Lily and welcome to my channel and welcome to my November reading wrap up. So November was a pretty quiet month for me. I didn't read as much as I wanted to. I had a really big TBR and a couple of reading vlogs that I really wanted to give a go and didn't do any of those. I will largely actually blame Iron Flame. Iron Flame, which is the sequel to Fourth Wing, came out at the beginning of November and I was so excited for it because I loved Fourth Wing. I tried to pick it up right away and it just was not very good. I'm still trying to read it. I'm about halfway through now at the beginning of December. And yeah, it just put me in a bit of a slump. I thought I would whiz through it and I didn't, and that's really made me slumpy. So I only read 5 books in November, which is really low for me. That's joint with 2 other months where I didn't read very much and I'm kind of sad about it. But December, I'm hoping I'm a lot less busy in December as well, so I'm hoping I will get more reading done, because in November I had a Yalk and I had a hackathon at work and loads of other commitments going on, so hopefully for me December will be the month where I can get a bit more reading done. With that said, let's get into the books that I did read in November. First up we have my audiobook for the month. I think this is the only one I finished in the month from memory, from what I can think about what's on my list, and that is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. This is a reread. I'm currently wearing a Terrason hoodie. This is not my first rodeo. I'm trying to reread the whole of Throne of Grass. I'm trying to reread the whole of Throne of Glass, the series, so that I can finally finish Kingdom of Ash in December, and considering it is currently December, not going well. But we are persevering, we are trying, so in December I will be focusing on getting through those audiobooks. However, I don't know how many times I've read Crown of Midnight. I like it, but it is not my favourite in the series. I think the Throne of Glass, the first book, is my favourite. And so the rest of the books, they're okay, but they're not as good as the first book for me. I loved the kind of magical competition element. But Crown of Midnight, I enjoyed. It's really weird reading it knowing the secrets that come later in the books. I forget how much Selena sleeps with other people in the books. I forget how many relationships she kind of has, but I think Crown of Midnight is not the one where we get introduced to any new characters, so it was okay, but it wasn't the best. I enjoyed it still, and I think I would give it like a 4-star. I can't remember how much I gave it the first time I read it, but I think at this point I'd probably give it a 4. Yeah, I'm going to continue my reread and hopefully get to Kingdom of Ash in December, but I don't really think that's going to happen. Then I read Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. This is the 3rd and final book in the Knock 'Em Out trilogy. This one is about Lucian and Sloane, who are characters in the previous books, and it does help to have read the previous books. You can't really read this series in isolation because the non-romantic subplot links into the non-romantic subplots of the previous books. But anyway, this one is about Lucian and Sloane, who were best friends growing up, and there was always kind of this sexual tension between them, but nothing ever happened. But all we know is something happened between them that meant they refused to speak to each other anymore. They hate each other, and we don't know why. And in this book, we start to explore their relationship together and how they are interconnected. And it is my favourite of the 3 in the Knock 'Em Out series. I found Lucian to be the least problematic of the boys in these books, and I liked Sloane a lot. She felt a little bit more independent than some of the other female main characters in this series, and I liked her strength, and I really enjoyed reading her storyline of her coming into herself and kind of accepting this new life where her father has passed away, and yeah, really enjoyed it. This series, you kind of have to read it unseriously because the men are still problematic and it's not meant to be perfect, but it's a good, fun read. It is quite chunky, but that is because Lucy Score does do a lot of emotional development in the books, and I do think this one did it really, really well. Then I read Crying in Mart by Michelle Zauner. This is a memoir, and the book itself, the blurb doesn't really tell you much about what the book is about, but it mostly focuses on her relationship with her mother. It begins with them when she is a child/teenager, but the meat of the book is about her relationship with her mother after her mother is diagnosed with terminal cancer, and then how how she deals with the grief after her mother has passed away. And so the reason it's called Crying in H Mart is because it opens in a section where she is in H Mart, the Asian grocery store in America, and she is there kind of one of the first times she's been there without her mother, and she cries when she sees some of the other people there that she wishes was still her mum. It's a very impactful read. It's very sad. It's definitely one that you need to be careful with trigger warnings for. It's very raw and honest, and you do get to see a lot of the darker details of cancer and death, but I found it an interesting read. I'm not going to rate it because it feels wrong to. I do feel like it wasn't really a book written for me. I have had a family member pass away in a somewhat similar way, and so I didn't find it particularly shocking or insightful in that way because I recognise a lot of this from my own experiences. What I didn't enjoy about this book, and the reason I felt a bit uncomfortable reading it, is I felt a little bit like Michelle was being a bit negative about the other people around her and didn't seem to really acknowledge that the other people in the book would also be experiencing the grief and the pain that she was experiencing. But overall, I think it was very well written, very honest, and very insightful for her. And I think a lot of other people would take away a lot more from this book than I did. There is a reason why this book is a bestseller. It just wasn't for me, but if it interests you and you think you could take something away from it, definitely give it a go. So next up is my joint favourite for the month, with the final book as well, and that is With Love from Cold World by Alicia Thompson. This is an adult rom-com. In this one you have Lauren and Aza. They both work in Cold World, which is theme park attraction kind of thing in Florida. So the novelty of it is you can go and play in the snow in Florida. And Aza has been working there for a very, very long time. Lauren is somewhat new, only been there for a couple of years, but their boss picks them out and her son to come up with an idea to revolutionise Cold World. And they have the option to work together or against each other. But there's also kind of sexual tension between them. I loved this. I was not expecting to love it as much as I did because I hadn't heard the best things about the author's previous book, Love in the Time of Serial Killers. This one, love it. New favourite. The male main character is bisexual, and there's a lot of talk around his bisexuality and what it means for the people he's with. And the female main character is the most autistically coded person I have ever read in my entire life. It's never said by the author or in the book that she's autistic, but she reads so very autistic, and I really loved that. She was very relatable. I thought the side plots were super interesting as well. We get to see a lot about the foster care system, about found family, and what it is to be rejected by your family for your sexuality. So there's definitely, again, some trigger warnings to check out, but I thought everything was handled really respectfully, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's so funny, but also very emotional, and I couldn't recommend it high enough. Now we have one final book, which again, my joint favourite for the month, and that is The People on Platform 5 by Clare. This was my book club's pick for the month that I suggested, so I was very happy it got picked, and I absolutely loved it. It is a cosy contemporary. It is about a group of people who get the same train to and from work or school in London every single day, and they never speak to each other because that's not what you do on British trains. But one day one of them has a medical emergency and it brings them all together and they start to talk. It follows our central character is a lady called Iona. This book was previously titled like Iona Iverson's something, but there are multiple POVs, but it all kind of centralizes around Iona, who is a magazine advice columnist, and so she kind of inserts herself into everyone else's lives on the train, and that's how they all become connected. So it is a queer book about found family, about perceptions of others, and about coming together and kind of creating your own support network. So each character is making different assumptions about the other characters. So you get to see how everyone's perceptions affect how they treat each other, and also over time how they learn about each other and reveal each other's secrets and get to know each other a lot better. It's a very beautiful book. Again, check some trigger warnings for this because there are some very sad moments, but it's emotional but funny and really, really sweet. This was recommended to me by a family friend who doesn't read a lot, and he was saying how this is like one of his favourite books he's read ever, and he sold it to me really, really well. So I thought I'll give it a go, and Adam was right. It is very, very good, and I will be recommending it to everybody. So that is it for November. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought about them in the comments below, because I always love to hear what everyone thought about the books I've read. But also let me know what was your best book in November, or perhaps what was your worst if you had a rough reading month. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to see more content from me. All of my social media links are in the description below. And if you'd like to leave me a comment to let me know you are here, leave me a train emoji in the comments below. Thank you again. Bye!